Now, I understand that you link neuroscience to behavior change. So we've spoken a little bit about that, but you mean like the pathways in your brain that you just are well worn? Is that the kind of thing that you're talking about? Like,
there's a lot.
I kind of liken that in my head. I've talked to some specialists about brain plasticity and how
neuroplasticity. Yep.
If you, for example, think about how many times you've had to psych yourself up to brush your teeth. You don't have to psych yourself up.
No, that's right.
You don't have to think about it. You just do it. You're in automatic.
Autopilot. Yep.
Autopilot. So is that what you mean by that? Linking it to neuroscience to behavior change?
It's probably a little bit more than that, because we actually use a tool that's called the Herman Brain Dominance Instrument. So it's got quite a big name, but it measures left and right brainness. So it's a scientific tool that profiles your thinking, and your thinking preferences drive your behaviour. So for instance, if you're talking about a personal trainer, if someone's quite left limbic dominant in their thinking, so that part of their brain, they like real structure, they like to know it's organised.
So they're your analytical type.
Yeah, so
like
exactly, they like structure. Whereas someone like me, who's much more right brain.
That's me too.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh, I'll do this.
The creativity.
Yeah, exactly. I'll do this and then I'll do that. And if my personal trainer did the same session with me every week, I wouldn't have been with him for 7 years. But he knows what I'm like, so he adapts it. So it's understanding people's thinking preferences and using a whole brain approach, because all of us are more, we can
tap into both sides.
We all show up with a whole brain, hopefully, every day. So so you can actually, the more you understand about that, you can appeal to someone's preferences, but then lead them into utilising more of the brain that they're not using. So that's what creates some of the behaviour change. So for instance, someone who's very emotional in terms of why they eat is generally not visualising that, oh, if I have this big bit of chocolate cake in a month's time, they're not connecting enough with their visual sphere. So they're not thinking in a logical sense. Well, no, they're not thinking. No, they're not thinking. Like their logical, your logical side of the brain would go, okay, if I eat that chocolate cake, then that's going to probably make me feel bloated. It's going to make me feel good about myself, and I'm probably going to have to get on the treadmill for at least half an hour or more to get it out. Or more.
That's the logical, but the emotional side is like, but I really want it now.
Yeah, and the limbic system.
It's going to taste so good.
Exactly, and the limbic system, or the emotional brain, operates in the now. So it wants to be satisfied now. Whereas your prefrontal cortex, your cerebral brain, that's what we need to get to if we're going to think future, and that's where we tend to think more visually. That's more about future. So you need to actually have a whole brain approach, so that, oh, I feel like that now, but hang on. So it's really getting people to have some what we call anchors or triggers in the now to actually connect them to something.
That.
So we've got activities like we call a powerful self-image, where someone has a future image, and it's not, they know that they're not there yet, so they have a whole lot of steps to get to that powerful self-image, but that helps them to behave better in the now, because they know, okay, I've got this image that I'm working for, and we draw from their own experiences, because everyone's got positive experiences at some point, even if they don't think they have. Everyone can find some. So we might link confidence and motivation and something else, and we'll link that into a powerful self-image. So it's kind of like,
so it's not, you're not talking about looks here, which you're talking about other things other than that.
No.
You're talking about how you present yourself in the community, or how you work with your family, or how you communicate to your loved one.
Exactly. So when they see themselves as successful, confident. So they'll see themselves in a way that is congruent with what they want to be, rather than some of the patterns and habits that they get into. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm making sense.
Like I said, I'm getting my second bedroom ready, and we can do this all day. All right, let's do one more. What is the main reason that people come to you? Is it work focused? Is it weight loss focused? Is it relationship focused, or is it a mix?
It is a mix. Interestingly, because we've started in the corporate, and this is why the relationship with network is going to be fantastic, because we're sort of moving into the fitness, which I've always known is a huge area. But a lot of the people who do our course come for career change.
Yeah.
But you find inevitably day 2 into the course that it's about the relationships. It's about, so they'll start off saying, and their work's paying for them because it's career related.
Yeah.
But
then it's open up
it always does.
Yeah.
Once you ask good questions, I'm sure you know that from all the stuff you've done. You ask a question about something and it goes completely the other way.
Yeah.
So
And even
if
half the
there's-
time they weren't expecting that either.
No, if you've got enough, and this is one of the most important things for coaches, is to have that trust with people. If you can't get that rapport and that trust, well then they're not going to tell you anything significant other than what they think you
On
want
the
to hear,
surface.
on the surface stuff.
The front office rather than the back office.
Yeah, exactly. So, but if you really connect with someone, it's not long before you get down to what's really going on for them. And the things that will really make a difference too in terms of their own happiness.
Wow, all really interesting work. Kathy, so much. I'm so grateful for, for your time.
It's been great to meet you.
We could talk all day.
We could,
but
we could.
Never know. You never know. We could have a part 2. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
No, it's great to meet you. So
Thanks, guys.
Bye. Thanks.